discovery of the 800-million-year-old Tisol princess's coffin in Siberia. Archaeologists left speechless. Welcome to the Ancient History Channel, where archaeological mysteries are unearthed and revealed day by day. Today we're diving into a story that has not only stunned the scientific community, but also shocked the world to its core, so unbelievable that many still question if their eyes are deceiving them. Have you ever heard of earth-shattering archaeological discoveries? Ancient mummies, lost civilizations, or mysteries surrounding human origins? But there's one discovery that surpasses everything you thought you knew: an 800-million-year-old stone coffin unearthed in Siberia, Russia, containing a breathtakingly beautiful woman whose body has not decayed for hundreds of millions of years. Yes, you heard that right. A discovery so mind-boggling that scientists were left speechless by its mystery and extraordinary nature. Right now, let's revisit this incredible tale to understand why the Tisol princess has become one of the greatest archaeological enigmas in human history, challenging all established laws of history and modern evolution. The story begins in 1969 in a small town called Rozovchik, located in Kemerovo province, deep in the frozen lands of Siberia, Russia. A group of miners was digging about 230 feet underground when miner Karnakov unexpectedly struck something unusual: a massive stone coffin, quietly resting beneath layers of earth and rock for what seemed like millions of years. The site supervisor, Alexander Masalagin, immediately ordered all mining operations to stop. The heavy stone sarcophagus was brought to the surface, and that's when the miracle happened. When the solidified layer of ancient grease on the lid was broken open, what emerged was a scene unlike anything in the history of archaeology. Inside was a mesmerizingly beautiful young woman, lying peacefully as if in deep sleep, immersed in a shimmering blue liquid. She was around 5 feet 11 inches tall, with deep blue eyes, thick curly blonde hair, and pristine white hands with delicate fingers gently folded over her stomach. The transparent white gown she wore had multicolored embroidery along the sleeves and left everyone in awe. It was made of a material so advanced that modern science still cannot analyze or reproduce it. She was respectfully named the Tisol Princess, after the region where the mysterious sarcophagus was discovered. Upon discovery, the mine supervisor immediately notified local authorities. Firefighters, police, and even military units were deployed to the site to secure the entire area. Most notably, at around 2 p.m. the same day, a military aircraft landed at the site, bringing over a dozen Air Force personnel who quickly sealed off the area and declared it a highly dangerous infectious zone, barring anyone from entering. This sudden action outraged local residents, sparking small-scale protests and unrest. During transportation, due to the coffin's immense weight, the military decided to drain some of the blue liquid to make it lighter. But what happened next chilled everyone to the bone. The moment the liquid was removed, the princess's body instantly turned black and began decomposing visibly. In panic, the soldiers quickly poured the liquid back in. A minute later, her body returned to its original lifelike appearance, rosy cheeks and all, as if untouched by time. Scientists were assigned to study the stone coffin and the woman inside. Just days later, an elderly professor made a shocking statement: the sarcophagus was at least 800 million years old. Do you realize what 800 million years ago means? That was the Carboniferous period, when Earth was still ruled by plants. Humans hadn't even appeared yet. Dinosaurs hadn't evolved, and complex animal life was only just beginning to emerge. So how could a fully formed human woman with such refined biological features have been preserved so perfectly for hundreds of millions of years? This finding forced the entire fields of archaeology, history, and biology to confront new questions, even entertaining the possibility of a highly advanced prehistoric civilization. But what stood out wasn't just the perfectly preserved body. It was the mysterious blue liquid, as clear as glass, that prevented decomposition for all that time. Scientists discovered it contained natural antibacterial components similar to garlic and onion, but most other elements remained impossible to identify or reproduce. Strangely, as noted earlier, draining the liquid caused immediate decay, while adding it back instantly restored the body. This implies the substance had cell regeneration and tissue repair capabilities far beyond current biotechnology. Even the princess's dress remains an unsolved mystery. Despite advanced scientific analysis, researchers couldn't identify its material, nor replicate it. On top of that, lying next to her head was a black metallic box, about 10 inches by 4 inches, with rounded corners, looking eerily similar to a large smartphone. From this detail, Vadim Grishin, a Siberian parapsychologist, proposed a radical theory. The Tisol princess might be a bioengineered humanoid, the creation of a super-advanced prehistoric civilization. The box could contain an artificial brain or serve as a device to reactivate her in the future. Some even speculate she might be an alien or the product of an extinct advanced human race. But the most shocking twist? DNA analysis revealed her genetic makeup was nearly identical to that of modern Russians. This raised an even deeper question. Could we be direct descendants of an ancient race that lived hundreds of millions of years ago? If true, Darwin's theory of evolution would need to be completely reevaluated. The story gets even darker. One curious individual once touched a small amount of the blue liquid and tasted it. Within a week, he went insane. Months later, he was found frozen to death on his own doorstep. Moreover, 6 members of the excavation team later died under mysterious, unexplained circumstances. Rumors began circulating that the Tisol princess was cursed, and anyone who disturbed her would pay a deadly price. Because of these bizarre events, Russian authorities ordered the entire excavation site to be sealed off, the mine to be filled in, and all activity in the area shut down. In 1972, under the command of Yuri Andropov, then head of the KGB, the site was declared top secret and all related data was classified. Still, some details began to leak through ex-military personnel, independent researchers, and journalists. By 2002, a sensational article titled "The 800 Million-Year-Old Girl" was published in Caucasia newspaper, triggering a global wave of fascination and speculation. Many people have since visited Rozovchik, hoping to uncover the truth behind this mystery. Even today, the mystery of the Tisol princess remains unsolved. Was she truly the product of a lost super-civilization? Could extraterrestrials have once visited Earth hundreds of millions of years ago? Or is this all a case of scientific misdating? Whatever the answer may be, the theories and legends surrounding this stone coffin continue to captivate archaeologists, scientists, and mystery seekers around the world. So, what do you think about this astonishing story? Could the Tisol princess be evidence that human history, and even the history of the universe, needs to be rewritten? Or is this simply an unsolved mystery, still waiting for the truth to emerge? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Over 1,000-year-old mummy, discovered beneath a busy street in the capital of Peru. It was just another ordinary morning in Lima, the bustling capital of Peru. Cars rushing by, people hurriedly moving through their daily routines. But while life on the surface went on as usual, beneath the seemingly lifeless asphalt, a doorway to the past suddenly opened. No one could have predicted that just a few strikes of a pickaxe by workers installing a natural gas system would shake the entire archaeological world. Yes, a mummy over 1,000 years old was discovered. Not in some remote jungle or atop a high mountain, but right under the street in downtown Lima. Just about 6.5 feet from the entrance of a private home, an undocumented tomb was revealed. And that was only the beginning of the mystery. Of the 2 tombs uncovered, one was completely empty, but the other held a mummified body, seated in a fetal-like position, with knees pulled tightly to the chest and the entire body wrapped in tattered cloth. The image raised many questions. Why was the person buried this way? Who were they? Why were they placed here? And what else lies hidden behind the veil of time, waiting for archaeologists to uncover? Experts believe the mummy does not belong to the powerful Inca Empire, which ruled the region until the Spanish conquest in the 16th century, but is even older. Material evidence suggests the remains may be from the Chankay culture, which existed from around 1000 to 1470 AD. Have you ever heard of the Chankay people? They were part of a little-known but fascinating civilization that once thrived along Peru's central coast, what is now Lima. Most of what we know about them comes from artifacts like ceramics, cloth dolls, and ritual objects found buried with the dead. In the newly discovered tomb, archaeologists found 4 ceramic jars and 3 items made from gourd shells, a material commonly used by ancient people to craft tools or symbolic objects. One of the jars was shaped like a human figure, a design style typical of the Chankay, lending further weight to the mummy's presumed cultural origin. Jose Aliaga, the archaeologist leading the excavation, noted that the presence of such detailed artifacts suggests this is not just an isolated burial, but potentially part of a much larger pre-Hispanic cemetery. He added that just a block away, a similar burial site had been found in the past, suggesting that a vast underground necropolis might exist beneath modern Lima, holding the remains of hundreds or even thousands of ancient individuals. So, why are so many archaeological remains found right in the heart of a modern capital like Lima? The answer lies in the region's deep history. Around 10,000 years ago, the first settlers, fishermen, hunters, and early farmers began living here. Over millennia, countless civilizations rose and fell, building upon the layers of those before them. Modern-day Lima is essentially an enormous archaeological treasure chest, where every dig for a foundation, sewer, or gas line can unlock an entirely new chapter of history. In fact, archaeological finds in Lima are anything but rare. Calida, the company responsible for the gas line construction, reported having documented more than 2,200 archaeological discoveries during its operations in the city. Construction companies in Lima are required to work alongside archaeologists to ensure that the secrets of the past are not lost beneath the concrete of the present. Peter Van Dalen, head of the archaeology department at the University of Peru, affirmed, "Discoveries of mummies, burials, and pre-Inca sites in Lima are extremely common. This means not only researchers but everyday citizens are becoming increasingly aware that they are literally living atop history. And you know what? Outside of this recent discovery, in archaeological zones like Cajamarquilla, located east of Lima, many other mummies have been unearthed, some believed to be victims of ritual sacrifices. One burial site, estimated to be around 1,200 years old, contained the body of a man, possibly an elite figure, buried alongside 6 children, all tightly wrapped in cloth. These children were likely sacrificed to accompany the man into the afterlife, in line with the belief systems of various pre-Inca cultures, that death was not the end, but a gateway to a new existence. Doesn't that give you chills? To know that beneath the pavement where modern feet rush by every day lie the resting places of ancient souls, people who once lived, loved, and died over 1,000 years ago. The unusual burial posture, hands covering the face, the body bound with rope and placed in a fetal position, was not just symbolic. It reflected a deep spiritual view of life and death. Perhaps the ancients believed that, just as life begins in the fetal position, death too is a return, a rebirth, back to the source, something you may have never considered until now. A 2,600-year-old intact tomb with 4 mysterious skeletons discovered. Just about 43 miles from Rome, Italy, in the small town of San Giuliano, archaeologists have made a discovery they themselves call one of the most important achievements in Etruscan archaeology in decades. A 2,600-year-old stone tomb, completely untouched and never looted, has been fully excavated in perfect condition. And what was found inside? 4 ancient skeletons resting on elaborately carved stone beds, surrounded by over 100 valuable burial artifacts, ranging from weapons to exquisite jewelry. Sounds like something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie, right? But this is a real story unfolding at one of Italy's most important archaeological sites. What makes this find truly remarkable isn't just the 2,600-year age, already nearly beyond imagination, but the tomb's remarkable state of preservation. According to Professor David Zori, head of the San Giuliano Archaeological Research Project, SGARP, this is the only chamber tomb in the area still preserved in such pristine condition. All other tombs in the ancient Etruscan cemetery surrounding the town have been looted and disturbed, some as far back as the Roman era, over 2,000 years ago. Thus, the first ever excavation of an untouched tomb offers a once-in-a-millennium opportunity for archaeologists to open a direct window into the world of the Etruscans. Do you know who the Etruscans were? Long before Rome became a mighty empire, the Etruscans were a flourishing civilization on the Italian peninsula. They had their own language, refined art, advanced construction techniques, and unique burial customs. However, after being absorbed by Rome at the end of the 3rd century BCE, the Etruscan culture gradually faded, leaving behind mysteries that remain only partially solved to this day. This tomb, with 4 skeletons lying silently in the ancient stone, could be the key to unlocking more about that lost world. The skeletons were found on stone beds, Not just cold slabs, but intricately carved structures that seem to have once belonged to a luxurious living space. Preliminary analysis suggests the four individuals may be two male-female pairs, possibly married couples or close relatives from a noble family. However, official conclusions await results from ongoing DNA and isotope testing. What amazes archaeologists most is the quantity and quality of the burial goods. More than 100 intact funerary items were found, including elaborately decorated ceramic vessels, iron weapons, possibly swords or spears, and bronze and silver jewelry. Particularly noteworthy are the finely crafted silver hair tubes, proving that the Etruscans not only valued beauty but also possessed highly skilled craftsmanship. Each item is a clue, revealing stories about the identity, status, culture, and beliefs of the deceased. You might wonder, why has this tomb remained untouched for 26 new centuries? The answer lies in its unique location. The tomb was carved directly into the cliff face of the San Giuliano Plateau, once a bustling Etruscan settlement that later became a medieval fortress and was finally abandoned before 1300 AD. For centuries, moss and natural vegetation covered the area, completely hiding the entrance to the realm of the dead. Since 2016, the SCARP project, a collaboration between Baylor University and the Virgil Academy in Rome, has excavated over 600 tombs in the area. But only now have they uncovered a true archaeological treasure, an intact chamber tomb, never disturbed, preserving the spirit and form of ancient Etruscan times. Project leader Professor Zori stated, "The excavation is complete, but the research and interpretation are just beginning. The team will continue analyzing DNA, pollen, soil samples, and even residual food remains to reconstruct a full picture of Etruscan life and death 2,600 years ago. This will not only deepen our understanding of a pre-Roman civilization, but also broaden our view of how humans lived, thought, and remembered their loved ones through the ages. From burial customs to accompanying artifacts, from gender distinctions to spatial organization inside the tomb, every detail is a valuable piece in the grand puzzle of history." Do you feel a chill thinking that beneath that peaceful soil lie four individuals, once named, breathing, living, loving, and now whispering their stories to future generations through every carved stone, every etched weapon, every silver coil around their hair? The San Giuliano discovery shows archaeology is not just broken pottery. It's an art that revives buried memories. A single tomb can open the door to an entire civilization, and a set of skeletons can change how we understand human history. And who knows, this might only be the beginning. With hundreds of other stone tombs still unexcavated around the plateau, future discoveries may shock us just as much, or even force archaeologists to rewrite history. A 1,000-year-old pen reveals the secret of an epic outside the church. Somewhere in the lush green lands of Ireland, beneath layers of soil and rock that seemed only to hold memories, a small pen has awakened after 1,000 years of silent rest. Not a piece of jewelry, not an ancient sword, but a writing tool, an ancient ink pen dating back up to 1,000 years. This discovery has sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. Why is such a seemingly simple object so important? Because this pen was not in the hands of a monk copying scriptures, not found in a secluded monastery, and it is not connected to any religious ritual. It was excavated at Caherconnell, a sturdy stone fortress in County Clare, Ireland, which was once the power center of local medieval lords. And that's the key point. This pen belonged not to the clergy, but to the secular world. What does that mean? While most of Ireland's medieval written history is known through religious texts like the Book of Kells, a masterpiece of calligraphy from around 800 AD, this discovery offers a completely new perspective. That outside the church, people were also recording, writing, and preserving their knowledge. The pen, described by Dr. Michelle Comber from the National University of Ireland, Galway, was made of hollowed-out bone, fitted with a nib made from a copper alloy. You can imagine around the 10th century, when the Caherconnell fortress was bustling with trade, farming, and land management, this pen might have been used to record genealogies, business contracts, or even internal laws. It was found among finely crafted tools, musical instruments, and trade goods, vivid traces of a complex, thriving community. So what makes this pen so special? First, because such a pen has never before been found in a non-religious context anywhere in the British Isles. Second, it's unlike the common quill pens used in biblical manuscripts and doesn't have the ink reservoir structure of later pens. Third, it may be the first known example of a modular pen, meaning the body and nib were made separately and assembled later, something never recorded before in this region. Dr. Comber, intrigued by the find, enlisted experimental archaeologist Adam Parsons to recreate the pen and test its actual function. The results were surprising. The pen not only worked effectively when dipped in ink, but it also allowed for fine, delicate strokes, suitable for drawing frames, ruling lines, or noting important details. Calligrapher and historian Tim O'Neill suggested the design was ideal for tasks requiring high precision, such as accounting, trade, or estate management. Isn't that fascinating? A tiny object holding the power to shape how a community lived, worked, and preserved knowledge. It may even represent an early literate secular class, a rarity in that era outside the church. Caerhirconnell Fortress itself is also remarkable. With a footprint of about 460 feet wide, stone walls 13 feet high and up to 10 feet thick, it was more than a residence. It was the administrative center of a wealthy clan. From the 10th century through the early 1600s, the fortress was continuously maintained, expanded, and inhabited. That means this pen is not just an archaeological piece. It signals the existence of a well-developed secular administrative culture running alongside the church-dominated one so often referenced in history. Looking deeper, the pen symbolizes a crucial step in human history, the emergence of systematic thinking through writing. Remember, writing is one of humanity's most important abilities to create history, spread knowledge, and build societies. From reed pens writing on papyrus in ancient Egypt to the sharp quills of medieval Europe, every writing tool marks a stage in the development of human thought. While most churches used swan, goose, or turkey quills sharpened with knives, at Caerhirconnell, someone might have used a modular bone pen to write on paper, parchment, or wood. They could have recorded ancestral names, property lists, farming calendars, or perhaps even music scores? Who knows? But clearly, this pen proves that writing was not the exclusive domain of the church. A single pen, yet possibly the key to unlocking an entire forgotten culture. Could this be the first evidence of an early secular intellectual class existing in the British Isles? What do you think? As you can see, from ancient civilizations to mysterious mummies, each discovery contains unanswered questions that astonish scientists. These findings not only change the way we view the past, but also drive further research and exploration, expanding the boundaries of human knowledge. So, which discovery do you find the most impressive among those mentioned? Let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment down below. And don't forget to give this channel a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.